In the church of my youth, every worship service began with an extended period of testimony. If you wondered why we in the Pentecostal church got out at 3 o'clock, it is because the first hour and a half of that service was testimony service. And if you don't know anything about it, during this period of testimony, anybody who felt called to get up and bear witness to God's movement in their lives, or to lay before the beloved community their trials, their concerns, and tribulations, could get up, sing a song, which most of those who testified did, and then go into what they wanted to share. And I remember, and let me be honest with you, as a kid growing up, we made fun of most of the older people who sang and gave testimony. But I do remember that there was a very poor woman who testified just about every Sunday she was in worship. And we all knew that she was poor. She lived in public housing. She received public benefits of many kinds. And in her testimonies, she shared the struggles that she and her family encountered as they tried to make ends meet. However, she never sounded sad. She never sounded defeated. On the contrary, she sang her song with joy, and she spoke about her life with determination and fearlessness. And I've been thinking about this woman all week because I recall that before she would share her testimony, let me tell you the song that she would sing. And I don't know if you know this, but in that Pentecostal church, we sang a call and response songs, a lot of them. And she would sing a song where she would sing out, "I get joy when I think about." And then the congregation would follow behind there, "What he's done for me." And that would go on for about 6 minutes. But no matter what her struggle, challenge, or setback, she could sing that song about her joy, because many of her stories did reveal that indeed she was able to put food on her table, to take care of her children, and overcome many of the challenges in her life because of the strength and blessing that she got from her faith in Jesus. She was filled with joy. And we may not even wanted to trade our lives for hers, but she was filled with joy. And so she sang not only about what God had done for her, but she also sang because of God's action and blessing in her life, such that a poor woman who no one wanted to be, no one wanted to trade places with, such that she could sing and rejoice. Now, the gospel text today is also a song of joy, sung by a poor girl. Yes, Mary, the mother of Jesus, was a poor, marginalized girl. And she sings a song in which the lyrics sound very much like that call and response song I just told you about in the church of my youth. Mary sings immediately that she is rejoicing because of what God has done for her. Now, what does this poor, marginalized girl have to sing about? She belongs to an oppressed people from a backwater town and region in an occupied territory. Girl, what are you singing about? Her prospects in life are limited. A girl in that patriarchal culture brought no honor to her family. A Jew in a Roman-controlled Palestine could not aspire to nothing much more than where she stood. And look what just happened to her. The angel Gabriel appeared to her, declared that she had found favor with God, and told her she would bear a son who would be a descendant from the line of David and who would be called the Son of the Most High. Somebody would not think that was good news. And she also finds out that her cousin, Elizabeth, who was known to be unable to bear children, is also pregnant. What does she have to sing about? God is up to something new and big. Let me say that again. God is up to something new and big. So I'll ask it again. What does a pregnant, unmarried teenager have to sing about? Again, I'm not sure we'd want to trade places with her. I'm not sure that many of us would have the faith to think that, yeah, I think this is a thing I want to do. But she sings a song of joy because Mary recognizes something, that God is active and present in her life and her future. God, many of whom probably thought God had forgotten them, that because of their lot in life that there was nothing to rejoice about. But God at that moment had said, I am present in a real way with you. So she sings a song of both joy, but not just joy, a song of resistance. She's singing God's movement in and through her life, God's willingness to do something new and big, not but to bless her in it, but also to bring salvation to the world. God is up to something. And so because she knows that God is up to something, she's got to sing about it. So her first verse, I'm going to put it in verses. Her first verse, she sings a song that says, my soul magnifies God because God looked on me, a marginalized nobody. Nobody knows me. No one looks at me and sees anything, but God chose me for the work that God is going. So my soul magnifies God. And guess what? Generations will know me to be blessed. And today we are talking about Mary. She knew something. We're talking about her today. So she rejoices in what God has done for her, the great things that God has done for her. And because God would look on her and use her, she is not satisfied with business as usual. If God can choose me, a nobody, God is up to something even bigger than you think. So she's the next verse that she sings is that God is going to put a stop to oppression and domination of the empire. Mary is going to get in trouble. She's not just singing about herself. Now she says that God is going to put a stop to all this mess you've been doing. God is going to tear it all down. Your callousness and your indifference, your wealth and your privilege, God is going to take it all away from you. Because God chose me, God, a nobody, a poor woman. God is going to bring it all down. Why else would God come and look upon me? And if God acted so definitively and audaciously in her life, in this life of a poor girl, certainly God can and will do great things for all God's children. So the next verse of a song of joy is that God is now going to reverse the unequal, oppressive conditions of the world. Now the lowly and the hungry will be lifted up and fed all they want. And the powerful and the full will be brought down from their seats of power. And they're going to have to just live with what they already have. God is reversing our conditions. Poor will be up will be down. So of course Mary is singing. Of course she is rejoicing. It's all about to change now. Of course she's celebrating God. Because now everything it's changing. It's changing for the better. Salvation is coming. Justice is coming. Righteousness is coming. Of course she's singing. My New Testament professor in seminary referred to Mary as the lead singer in a chorus of people who don't have nothing. Mary is the lead singer in a chorus of people who've been beaten up and discriminated against, who've been marginalized, who've been put down. Mary is our lead singer. She's now the bearer of good news. She's not just some poor girl. She's the bearer of good news. She's the first prophet. She's a preacher. Oh, some men don't like me to say that. But Mary is a prophet and a preacher, an evangelist, bearing good news with her very body. And see, as we in this age wait expectantly for God to show up and to do something new in our midst, if there's any doubt that God is up to something big and new, if there's any doubt that God can and will use any of God's children for God's purposes, one need look no further than the experience of a poor, unmarried, pregnant mother of Jesus. It is a joyful thing to contemplate. We live with the nagging question: can we know joy in the midst of darkness? Can we rejoice in light of so much poverty and so much injustice and so much violence and so much anxiety all around us when nothing seems secure? Can we sing a song of joy? I believe that we can sing that song. You see, the reason I believe is because we come from a people who knew how to rejoice when all around them seemed hopeless. People wondered why slaves in America would sing those songs, those praise songs, and sing and worship like that, even as they toiled in servitude under the sting of the lash. How could they be singing so joyously? Some people even surmise that they're happy being slaves. No, what they didn't understand was that they got joy when they thought about what God was up to. People wondered, like, how can these LGBTQ people all the time go to these clubs and dance and enjoy themselves? How could they march through streets in pride when all around them is oppression from their government and from their churches? And when people were dying from AIDS, they were still showing up and celebrating and dancing and having a good time. How could they do it? Because I believe we know something. That God looks down upon all of us and is determined to make things right. I know that we know that as a people living on the margins, we know that the suffering of the present time are not worthy to be compared to what God is going to do, because God will not let it go for too long. We know that to be true. And so I maintain that we know this song that Mary sings, even when we find it hard to join the chorus. We have stories, we all have stories of restoration, of transformation, of resurrection. We talk about them all the time. I hear it all the time, that somehow, some way, life took a turn for the better when for so long things looked so bad. That in Jesus we found love, connection, and abundance when we did not think it was possible. We hear it in the testimonies of those who bear witness to overcoming addiction, and then we rejoice with them. We hear it in those who tell us about finding love when so many people told them they were not worth loving, and we rejoice with them. We hear the stories of overcoming sickness and disease, that when the doctors counted them out, God said, no, you have another lease on life. And we rejoice with them. And here's the thing, if our memory fails us, when we lack the words to confess or testify to joy, then we get reminded every time during this season. The choir even sang it. Even when we don't know how to touch it or remember it or feel it, somebody will come up and sing, joy to the world. Oh, joy to the world. Oh, heaven and nature sing. Rocks, hills, and plains repeat the sounding joy. And the glories of God's righteousness and the wonders of God's love, oh, they sing it over and over. I woke up this morning, I was groggy. I even pulled the earplugs out of my ears. And I heard just coming, wafting through the house as loud as can be. My husband was playing Joy to the World. Joy to the world. The Lord is come. And even no matter what I was thinking, no matter what was going on, I knew that if I could not find the verse, if I could not join the chorus, somebody somewhere would sing about that joy. If it wasn't the lady that testified in my church of my youth, if it's not even Mary who sang, "My soul magnifies the Lord and rejoices in thy Savior, my God." If it's not even our music ministry that's saying "Joy to the World," their new funky version, somebody will sing that song. And so my invitation to you is to know that God is moving, God is working all the time, even when it looks dark around you, even when the violence and the brokenness weighs in on us. You know that God is working. And within us, filling us with a song of joy. Go ahead, sing it, sing it. Even if you don't feel it for that moment, sing it. I believe that you'll find the tune and the verse and bear witness to the world. Amen.